Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. This episode of Word Balloon is brought to you by AlexRossArt.com. Alex has a brand new graphic novel coming out from Marvel and Abrams Books, Fantastic Four: Full Circle. It comes out September 6th. It's a rainy night in Manhattan, and not a creature is stirring except for the Thing, Ben Grimm. When an intruder suddenly appears inside the Baxter Building, the Fantastic Four find themselves surrounded by a swarm of invading parasites. These carrion creatures, composed of negative energy, come to Earth using a human host as a delivery system. But for what purpose? And who is behind this untimely invasion? The Fantastic Four have no choice but to journey to the Negative Zone, an alien universe comprised entirely of antimatter, risking not just their own lives, but the fate of the cosmos. Fantastic Four: Full Circle is the first long-form work written and illustrated by acclaimed artist Alex Ross, who revisits a classic Lee Kirby story from the 60s and introduces the storyline for a new generation of readers. Bold, vivid colors, his trademark visual storytelling, Ross takes Marvel's first team of superheroes to places only he can illustrate. The book also features a special poster jacket with the front flap unfolding to reveal an all-new, fully painted origin story of the Fantastic Four. Again, Fantastic Four: Full Circle, out September 6th. For more details, go to AlexRossArt.com. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for another Word Balloon Live, the comic book conversation show. John Suttress here. Really excited today. I got Jim DeMonakis and Kevin Conrad Hanna. They are the filmmakers behind the brand new Mike Mignola Making Monsters documentary, which is going to debut this weekend at the Lightbox Expo, and a lot of screenings. I got info on that, but let's talk about the movie, and let's get your questions also about this incredible documentary. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Guys, I watched the movie, and it's outstanding, and you represent Mike really well, and the talking heads, and we'll get into it, that you have. The art, as always, looks amazing, and I think you guys did an incredible job. This will be a great introduction to people to Mike who might only know him because, oh, yeah, that's the guy who made Hellboy. But you really cover everything, and you do it quite well. So congratulations on a great movie.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. We worked really hard to be able to tell Mike's story in a way that was engaging and interesting. And for even those who, like you said, might not even know that there's a person behind Hellboy, they might only know the films or anything else, to be able to tell the story of this incredible creator.
So what intrigued you guys to do this?
It started, Jim and I were just having a conversation. So Jim and I have known each other forever. We've just been kind of in and out of him as a comic book powerhouse and me running around with my camera or doing video games or some other stuff. And we were grabbing a hamburger not too far from where both of us live. And I was starting to do more video stuff. And of course he was, had just finished, was starting up Lightbox and had just finished 17 years of founding and running Emerald City Comic Con. And we're talking about all these comic book creators that we love. And we're like, how there's all these great television shows, these documentaries about architects and chefs and musicians, like behind the music and all this stuff. We're like, someone should really make those about comic book creators. Yeah. And we're like, yeah, someone should. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a video about astronauts right now. I wish it was about comic book creators. And, yeah, we finally were like, yeah, we should make that. We should. And so we started this conversation about figuring out ways of doing like documentary storytelling about the comic book creators we love. And instantly, like the first one, we're like, well, of course, Mike Mignola. Yeah, of course. Mike is just a creator who has an incredible story, is an incredible style, he would cringe. You've seen the movie, so he would cringe to hear it, but he's an incredible guy. He's an incredible man. And I think that was just like, Jim, would you agree? Like that was kind of Or
I
easy
just think
jumping
he's
onto
an
it?
incredible man. Yeah. No, and that's exactly it. Like, I mean, our origin story is very much like a lot of the things that both Kevin and I have done in our lives. Is you think about what's the thing that you want. What do you want to see out in the world? And if it doesn't exist, then let's make it ourselves. And I think we've, Kevin's done a couple of graphic novels, and he directed a movie before this, and a number of other things. And I'm so proud to be able to team up with him and bring this story to life, because we both bring our own sensibilities to it. But at the end of the day, I learned a lot from about the filmmaking process from Kevin, and together we were able to really take a story that some people know but most don't, and turn it into what we hope is quite a compelling documentary.
Well, you succeeded as far as I'm concerned. And listen, there have been a lot of very good documentaries about comic book creators, but this is terrific. And Mike is a shy guy. It does come through in the movie, I think, as well. And I've had the pleasure of talking to Mike both at conventions, here on Word Balloon a few times as well, a lot of his collaborators. And you really do. You really get this great sense of his process, but also the impact. And again, I think the theater-going audience might only know the Hellboy movies, but you do this great job of really showing these 35 plus years that Mike has been not only making Hellboy, but all the characters in the Mignola universe, and on. I mean, my God, even I'm so glad the things that you do cover that we didn't get to see. I mean, you do a lot of great behind-the-scenes stuff on a couple projects that didn't make it all the way to light, or even Mike's involvement in Atlantis, which I think only anecdotally people might only know because they are comic book people. And it's like, hey, Mike Mignola actually designed the characters and whatever, because as you guys point out in the movie, and if people see the final product, it's like, no, it's nothing like Mike Mignola. What are you talking about? But that's really great. And that's an interesting story. So I'm so glad. Again, I really think you guys did a great job of covering everything. Let's talk about the various people that you got to contribute as well. And obviously, Jim, again, your background, as Kevin said, in the comic book world, I think, certainly helped you guys book the right people, the obvious people like Mike Richardson, and, the collaborators like Chris Robertson and others that help out in the Mignola universe, but also other great comic masters. So, we can go through the list and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things for us was, as you mentioned earlier, Mike himself is actually a bit of a shy person, and essentially for me and Kevin, as we were discussing, it's like, well, then you need other people to then help you tell Mike's story. And the best way to do that is for us to have conversations with the people who are not only collaborative with him, but also have been impacted by his work. And that's where we really started to figure out what our list of creators would be. And like you said, we were able to go kind of like all over the place, but luckily everyone was, how to put it, basically everyone was happy to talk about Mike. And that was very, very rewarding for us, because they got to express their love in a way that they normally don't get to. And then we were able to put it all together into this as well.
Yeah, a lot of people that wouldn't have talked to us at any point. Just like, Jim and Kevin, we're not going to talk to you. We're like, well, it's about Mike. They're like, oh yeah, okay. Then they'll push past everyone to talk to us.
Go ahead.
Oh no, and I think a lot of it was like Jim already knew a lot of people, especially in the comic book industry. Yeah. And so they just kind of came out of the woodwork, and we're like, yeah, I'm going to jump on board. If Jim's involved and Mike's involved, then I'm in. A couple people came in as we got momentum and stuff. So. We were able to, anyone who was maybe we didn't have their email or were a little harder to get a hold of. Once the ball started rolling, we were able to get a couple last minute people in there, like Perlman. Because
good Lord, I'm so glad that you guys got Perlman here. Here's a shot from the movie. I've had the pleasure of talking to him as well, not only generally, but about Hellboy and stuff. And truly, like other great actors who take on some of these iconic roles and stuff, what a great ambassador from Hellboy. I mean, really, is always happy to express his love about Hellboy and stuff. Like I said, I've had the pleasure. So, Pretty cool.
Yeah, we felt very lucky. Like, you know, he was a later addition, and we're really thankful that he was able to sit down and talk with us. Kevin was actually able to do. He conducted and directed that interview with him, and it was so great just to hear the stories and how much Hellboy impacted his life. I mean, again, we don't think about it in sort of these broad terms, but talking to both Ron Perlman and Doug Jones about how Hellboy literally changed the trajectory of their careers. And that's not something that, you know, for us, we just sort of think about these actors, and especially now we're over 15 years removed from the first Hellboy movie having even come out. And so we're just like, oh yeah, Ron Perlman. Oh yeah, Doug Jones, like those guys, as though like they're kind of household names, but you go back in time before those movies came out, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, Ron Perlman. I'm like, wasn't he on Beauty and the Beast? And like Doug Jones, like, oh, like you couldn't pick him out of a lineup because he always was a costumed makeup person, right? Like he's like this constant working actor, and he's doing amazing stuff, but it's all under, literally, like he's under it all.
100%.
So, yeah, so it was very cool for us to also, you know, peel back that onion as well.
And also, what a great gesture from David Hyde Pierce to hand, you know, I mean, Doug was physically playing Abe Sapien in the first movie, and when it came time for the second movie, Pierce is just like, you know, Doug is acting his ass off. Let him play the role. I mean, thank you, but you know, let me get out of the way. And I mean, really, it was just so seamless. And also the fact that Abe has such a prominent role in the second movie that I think it really did, like you guys say. I mean, it's like, hey, Doug Jones, man, because you're right, man. He's the Silver Surfer, but Lawrence Fishburne was the voice of the Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four movie back then. So yeah, no, you're right about that. A lot of thankless work, and God, like you said, Ron Perlman, Beauty and the Beast, and a great impact. But again, you know, he's got the lion makeup on. How the hell do you know that's Ron Perlman? And that's the great thing, I think, about the movies for a second, is that, especially in the case of Hellboy, Perlman comes through. I mean, it looks like Hellboy, but Perlman really gave it the gravitas that we knew from reading it and everything. But man, you got it. And taking nothing away from, I think David Harbour did a fine job. And again, I just think Hellboy's a very specific taste. And sure. That's and truly Mike makes that point throughout the documentary. You know, it's like, no, Hellboy's not a superhero, and he's not a typical hero. But thankfully, I mean, Del Toro, thank God, gets it, and Ron gets it and everything, and it just brings the character to life.
There was a fun little, Doug had come to Hollywood as a young man because he wanted to be a song and dance guy. He was a musical guy, and found out very quickly, he's like, I was kind of built for horror, right? And started getting all these jobs and stuff. And he said that Hellboy 2 was such a gift for him because he got to be the monster, but he also got to sing and have a little musical number.
That's right. When they sing I Can't Smile Without You. That's a fantastic scene. Absolutely, man. Hilarious. That's great, man. Well, again, another great thing about the movie is not only do we get tons of great Mignola art, but also some of the others that have contributed, like, you know, here's Ryan Sook image from the movie. And then he got, of course, Duncan Fegredo from all of his wonderful work. And, always great to hear the brothers or see the brothers, but there's Fabio Moon and his beautiful work and everything. And yeah, I love Gabriel and Fabio, man. And it's just like, that was really great seeing them. I haven't seen them in like 3 or 4 years either. It's like, oh, there they are. And that's, I mean, really, all the comic fans that are big convention people, you're going to go, hey, look, there's Chris Robertson. Fantastic. You know, all these people. Tad Stones, who made the Hellboy animated movies and stuff, and was my first connection to Mike, because Tad listened to Word Balloon way back in the day. And it's like, hey, I don't know if you know, but I'm making these Hellboy cartoons. And I'm like, you're the creator of Darkwing Duck. I would love to talk to you. Absolutely. Thank you. You know, and then Mike's, or Tad's become a great friend and everything. And yeah, like that was my introduction in San Diego to Mike. And I always love when Mike at San Diego is right next to like Mark Schultz and Gary Gianni and those guys and everything. And it's just like, it's great. And it's like, oh, there they are. Fantastic. You know, and also learning about, the days when Steve Purcell and Art Adams and Mike were all hanging out and stuff. I mean, this really is the great origin story of how Mike broke into comics and his successes and failures early on. Again, we'll save it for the movie, but Randy, again, the whole story is right there.
Oh, thanks. I mean, that's what we wanted, was a superhero origin story, right?
Yeah, 100%, man.
I think that's the thing for us too, is if we were just going to make, Kevin and I joked about it a lot because it would be so easy to essentially make Wikipedia the movie. We talk about this a lot because people are like, oh, you guys didn't talk about Fawford and the Grey Mouser, or like you name it, right? Because there's a lot of great stuff. Mignola's had a long, fruitful career in comics. And if we sat and we're like, well, let's talk about this time he did one cover and then this one thing and this other miniseries and all that, it would just drag on and on. And we had to really look at it as exactly as a origin story. So how do you start an origin story from the beginning? So let's talk about his childhood. And like Kevin and I tracked down a cousin of Mike's and got some home video. And so all the video you see in there is actually from a cousin of Mike's who moved away. And like we hunted them down to see if they would, what they had. And luckily he had inherited his dad's archive of videos and all, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of stuff that I think makes this so special. And for us was a really labor of love.
Well, and it's, going back to other comic book documentaries like Terry Zwigoff's excellent one about Robert Crumb, and you got the Crumb family, and really kind of a tragic story. Thank God this is the opposite, where poor Mike, and I can relate, man. My mother passed away at a very young age as well. But to get into the Mignola family and hear not only Mike talk about it and his wife, but his brothers as well, and just the love for their father, who was an old-fashioned World War II kind of guy that maybe wasn't the most demonstrative guy as far as the love, but they knew it was there. And how Mike's dad also influences the Hellboy persona and everything. And again, it's just incredible. And to, like you said, man, to get the film footage of them as kids, but all those great photographs as well. And then, seeing Mike's brothers still talk about it, and also their involvement in Mike's work. We'll leave it at that, but you'll learn as you see the movie.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
really cool.
It was super fun to be able to actually get the entire family on board, be able to interview his brothers, his wife, his daughter, and everyone who is surrounding Mike and also supporting, getting him to where he is now.
And here's a beautiful shot of Mike's wife, who I've had the pleasure of meeting, and how important she is to the story, and really backing Mike up, the confidence that she showed in Mike, in the tough times. Also, Rebecca Sugar, the Steven Universe creator. Wow. Some people that you wouldn't necessarily suspect would have an influence on their careers. And it's great to hear her talk about her love for Mike.
And I think Rebecca was our second interview. It was really early. It was before we interviewed Mike, even the first interview we did with Mike. Mike had agreed to do the interview, but we went down to LA, and we knew, Jim and I are both big fans of Rebecca's work. And so we knew it was going to be a good interview. We knew we were excited about it. I don't think I was ready to be floored by the level of influence and the how personal Mike's story was to her, and Mike's influence both as a creator, but also as a person, had directly influenced her and Steven Universe. It blew me away.
Did she come to you guys? How did that connection of Rebecca and Mike, how was that discovered by you guys or whatever?
I think we knew that she really liked Mike. We knew that she was a big influence. So we're like, sure. Here's a person that we like who will go say some nice things about Mike. He's a very good artist and his art was influence on me, something like that. And Jim may have known more than I did, but I wasn't prepared for the depth. The depth. Yeah.
I think that's a good word. Yeah.
The sincerity and the depth blew me away. And I think by the end of it, we were just kind of in a good way, kind of emotional and goobery and just excited and enthusiastic. Yeah.
No, I mean, we both, again, we did our research, and it's not like we picked, her name out of a hat to be like, oh yeah, let's talk to Rebecca Sugar. You know, it's like we knew that there was this influence, but like Kevin said, like no idea the depth and yeah. And I think that's also such an interesting part of filmmaking like this, of documentary filmmaking, because, narrative is, I write exactly what I want someone to say. There's no surprises. I know what's going to come out of everyone's mouth. But in a documentary, it's so amazing to not only talk to someone, but be able to then come back later after talking to other people and be like, wait, so we heard this story. Can you tell us more about it? Or can you expand upon it? Or can you refute this?
That's great. Now, you guys, it's going to be a very big month for you guys in terms of what you're doing with the movie here. And I've got Dave Hyde gave me all the details here. Secret Movie Club, LA Secret Movie Club, will present the first public screening of the movie. Let's see, at Los Angeles' iconic $1 Million Theater. That's this Saturday, October 15th. The screening will include a live on stage interview with Mike and also yourselves, Jim and Kevin, and Screen Movie Club founder Craig Hamill. Let's see, the meeting will also begin with a special. Wow, this is great, man. This is when I'm bummed that I'm not in LA, this kind of thing. A special screening of a 35 millimeter archive print of Frankenstein, the James Whale classic. Attendees will also be able to purchase a limited edition 18 by 24 poster by Mike and winning colorist Dave Stewart, who, of course, does incredible work on the Hellboy and BPRD stuff. And the event begins at 6 p.m. Tickets are available now. And also then that Sunday, the 16th, at Lightbox Expo in Pasadena, there'll be a panel with you guys at noon. And don't forget, that's at English very tough today. Lightboxexpo.com. And you can follow them on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and on Discord. So I wanted to get the plug in properly, boys. But I know you're going to be busy. Kev, are you going to be at Lightbox as well for the weekend?
I sure am. Yeah, I'm going to head down Friday. There's too much good stuff for anyone who's never been. This is only the second in-person Lightbox. But Mike had told Jim that it was, and posted publicly, that this was his favorite show ever. And I don't disagree. It's a phenomenal show. It's art-centered, art-focused, and it just has the huge array of all your favorite artists that you've heard of or ones you haven't heard of. And then also what's really, really cool is all these panels with all these creators that you love. And they're like, here's how I created Baby Yoda, or here's how I created Hellboy or whatnot. And it's incredible. And for some reason, us two dorks are going to be out there answering some questions.
And us.
And us.
Yeah, we're very using the tiniest bit of nepotism to get ourselves. But actually, you want to hear what's funny is that I didn't even think about doing a panel at the show because I never did a panel at Emerald City. It just wasn't a thing that I thought about. But my partner Bobby in Lightbox was like, so are you guys going to talk about how you made this documentary and show people how this is something like a path that you could follow? And I was like, huh, I guess we could. It's funny. I would never think about doing a panel at my own show. And yet here we are. And luckily I've got Kevin because we did this 50-50. We did this. It's a real partnership. And I really want that to be represented when we talk about how you can make this thing. I know, if I'd made this on my own, it would have been just a semi-fancy YouTube video. So I'm excited that we could do it. and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, Jimmy, I'm teasing, but no, this is good. Keep going.
Yeah. So no, I'm excited because, people looked at what we did on the Kickstarter and just being able to put this thing together. And I think the thing that I've always felt is that I'm no one special, right? What I do and what we have done is something other people can do. You just need to put a lot of work into it. And I think we could lay out a little bit of if we could just, I don't know how to put this. If we could just make a little bit of a pathway and show how people could do this, then we'll have done our job. We just want other people to tell the stories that they want to do. And actually, that's a big takeaway that we want people to get from the documentary by the end of it, is that if you have stories to tell, if you have something that you want to create, the only person holding you back is you. Like you need to create those things and you need to put them into the world.
Guys, I hear you. Jim knows I'm a 30-year vet of radio. And when podcasting came along, my awareness started in 2005, I'm like, and my initial thought was, well, maybe this will help me get a better radio job, not realizing that I was making something that now 17 years later I'm still doing and has become its own thing. And you're right. I mean, and truly, it is. In fact, last week I got to give notes on a documentary that's being produced here in Chicago. And the conceit of the person is the only thing, like you said, Jim, the only thing holding you back is yourself. You can do this stuff. And because of the digital age and the democratization of technology and software, now we can do this stuff. Kev, I don't know, as a filmmaker, I know when I came out of college, and again, this is, in the ancient times, back in the 20th century, my thought was coming out of college, if I scrape together a couple $1,000s, I can literally build a home audio studio. And then maybe I can, make some stuff or whatever and keep doing the things I was learning to do in college. And I'm sure the same thing goes with filmmaking. And now, thank God, again, between software and affordable cameras and stuff, you could do, this is a reality and you can do this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's when I first started, I was doing video work and I was excited about film, but at the time it was like 8mm or 16mm. And just to get started, it's like 13 grand or something like that.
100%, man.
Yeah. And I mean, you really could with a cell phone camera and a good audio, you need better audio, good audio. You could do a really powerful narrative film, documentary film. Like the tools are now there. Jim and I couldn't have done this without the changes in technology.
Understood. Build Writer wants to know, and I would assume that you guys are going to be on the film festival circuit, but how can somebody in Florida or other cities get to see this? What's the plan for the movie?
Well, specifically for Florida, we will be at the Orlando Film Festival. I don't have the dates handy. They're on our website. If you go to mignoladocumentary.com, we have a list of festivals and all our upcoming screenings. Outside of that, right now, we're working on figuring out a plan to have it on some kind of service so that people can check it out. But I don't have better news for you today, but at least for Florida, man, we're definitely in Orlando, and I think we already showed at there was in Fort Lauderdale. I think that just happened. So just depending on where you are in Florida, there's a couple of screenings there. So there you go.
Yeah, check out the website. There's a couple different screenings at different parts of the world, and Jim and I are just starting to have conversations with other possible avenues. So sit tight.
Okay. Am I right? Is it here? Mignola. Am I saying, did I write it?
Yep. Mignoladocumentary.com. Thank you.
There we go. Beautiful. Absolutely. And we'll do the same thing for the Lightbox Expo. What's that URL, Jim?
It's just lightboxexpo.com. We try to keep everything as simple as possible. Like every social media, it's just Lightbox Expo, and for Mignola, it's all Mignola Doc. So we just want to make it as easy as possible for people to check it out. Obviously, right now, we just fulfilled it to all the Kickstarter backers and everybody who supported us to make the film. So we're excited that all of those people that got us to where we are now are finally able to experience the film that they backed. And it's been so gratifying to hear people's feedback, and we're just happy it's out, for those people, and hopefully soon enough for many, many more.
That's great, man. And Jim, how long has Lightbox been going now? How many years?
So technically 4. We had our first in-person show in 2019, and then the pandemic hit. So we run it online for 2 years in 2020 and 2021, and now we're back to an in-person show. So this is year 4, but also year 2. So it's exciting to be back in person. Everyone's fully masked so that we can keep it safe. Hopefully next year we won't need that, or at the very least make it mask optional. But we're still in the middle of this pandemic, and I just want everybody to be safe. So yeah, it's been a fun few years putting something really, really exciting together that feels adjacent to what I used to do, but also completely different.
Jim, are you still with Reed? I know that okay. I was wondering.
Yeah, so after I finished my contract in 2017, and then
that far back.
Yeah, and then I took a couple years to figure out. I started working with Bobby Chu, my partner. Bobby is a concept artist and designer. He worked on like the Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland films and a number of other things. He created the Emmy Award-winning Nico and the Sword of Light on Amazon, and just has done a lot of stuff. And so we got together, and I've known Bobby for like 15 years, and we basically conceived of Lightbox Expo and then made it a reality.
That's great, man. And again, you knew what you were doing with Emerald City. What a great show. And also congratulations too, man. What a fun thing you did a couple of years ago when you came up with the spinner racks. And just truly, man, I know so many, of our friends that were like, God damn, I've been looking for a spinner rack forever. Thank God someone decided to, make them again. And truly, that's great. I mean, and also the industrial. Go ahead, talk about that for a second.
I was just gonna say it was so much fun to do that, and what was wild is like it ended up being a bit of a who's who of comics when it came to like who bought them, and the first time Kevin pointed it out actually, but the first time we went to interview Mignola, he was like, "Wait, is that one of yours?" I went and looked at it. I was like, "Actually, yeah." So. If I was still doing it, this documentary is actually just a very long commercial for spinner racks because it's in the background every time you see Mike in his studio.
So I will vouch. It was not fake. That's actually when Mike sits at his chair and there's that interview and you see the spinner rack. We didn't move it. That's really his very real Jim created spinner rack.
So wild.
I want to see if I have an image of the spinner rack to show, because that's great, man. That's so great to hear. I know I got a. Let's see here. Do we see it in this picture?
Oh no, it's
in the studio.
Whenever he's at his desk.
Yeah. So, and here's a great shot of Mike drawing as well, which is great. Yeah, it's so much fun, man. Honestly, guys, you really nailed it with this movie, Kev. And both of you, well, Jim, you did it with Spinner Rack. You had the Kickstarter for that. Kevin, have you had other film projects that you've Kickstarted before?
I've not done another film project. I had a graphic novel project. It was much smaller a couple years earlier. I did a book called Creature Academy, which was just a lot of fun. And Kickstarter is what everyone says it is. It gives you the opportunity to do things that you might not be able to do otherwise. So, yeah.
That's great, man. And forgive me, I didn't realize you had a graphic novel background. That's cool.
Yeah. Jim and I have both written a couple different graphic novels. I've done a little drawing too. So.
So Kevin's an artist as well, so he's kind of underselling it, but he's kind of the total package with writing and drawing. So he was able to. He's gotten at least 2 full graphic novels, done some singles, done some fill-in issue help on some Big 2 stuff, and. We both have written, obviously, I did the Silence of Our Friends with Nate Powell. So that was of course, it feels crazy to say, but that was a decade ago now. So but yeah, no, the storytelling background, I think, especially for Kevin too, as a filmmaker, that's also translated so much into the kind of work that we're doing and continue to do. So we have kind of all the right pieces for the kind of stuff that we want to keep doing here.
Yeah, it kind of just put us in a really unique spot, which was we definitely did a lot of homework, did a lot of research, but also we know this stuff in our DNA. I thought I was a comic book expert, and then I started hanging out with Jim, and then he goes 3-dimensional chess with it, and then of course we got to meet with so many other people who just know so much about their different spaces. And so like, when you sit over hours and hours and hours of footage and B-roll and con footage and interviews and stuff like that, it can get exhausting. But I think we just have this real fuel and fire for comics in our DNA that keeps it exciting and keeps it interesting. And even though, we've seen it 100,000 times at this point, I still kind of lean forward at certain parts and go, "Ooh, he's going to say the part."
Forgive me, guys. I don't know where that sound is coming from as far as the little scratchiness on our audio. So yeah, I don't know if there's any loose connection. That's what I was just leaning over to check on my end. But regardless, no, the message is coming through. Well, I don't know if you're ready to talk about future projects at all or tease what you might be doing. Could you at least say, would they be more documentaries? Would they be anything, from a fiction standpoint? What can you say?
I think I can say confidently for us that we would like to make more of this kind of stuff.
Great.
We want to tell more stories about creators. It's really our passion and it's up our alley. And what that looks like, we have no idea, but at least we know that, I mean, you mentioned other stuff like fiction, narrative, you name it. Like we are interested in all of that, but we're primarily interested in making more things like this.
It makes sense. I mean, this is the time to do it. The awareness. I always point to. There's a moment in Rocky Balboa where Milo Ventimiglia is in his corner as his son, and Rocky's in his 50s. He's fighting the heavyweight champion, and he goes, everybody thought youth doing this is a joke. Well, nobody's laughing anymore, and that's kind of what I feel about geek culture, where this is today's water cooler conversations in office buildings. Did you watch House of Dragons? Did you watch the CW last night and watch Superman and Lois or The Flash or whatever show? And the Marvel movies, of course. And that's the thing. And it's great that people like yourselves are out there saying, you want to know where all that started? It's these people. These are the people that created it. And they all have great stories. They all come to their success in very individual ways. There is no one way to break into comics, as Mark Waid used to say. Or when you break in, it's kind of like robbing a bank. They immediately wall up the escape path that you found to break in the bank and everything. So, and also it's very, I think, inspirational to all age groups. Again, I'm a 50-something guy doing podcasting and stuff because I love it, and also it's possible now. And I think whether you're a 20-something or a teen watching this thing and getting inspired, I mean, Mike's story, it's himself. Like comic books wasn't his plan. And that's amazing to learn, because you'd think, well, of course it had to be. But no, you don't. And again, because that's our first awareness of Mike. And it's like, really? So again, you just don't know. And again, I think it is an encouragement. So no, I think there are hundreds of great success stories in the comics field that are being waiting to be told. And again, I think this is a great first step for you guys. It really is a great movie.
Thank you, man.
Well, good. That sounds wonderful. Again, I want to point out the events that are coming up this weekend. Secret Movie Club showing a public screening of the movie, and it's called, again, everybody, Mike Mignola, Drawing Monsters, and it'll be at the Million Dollar Theater in LA on Saturday. And we'll have onstage Q&As with Mike and Kevin and Jim. Also, they're going to be showing a 35 millimeter archive print of Frankenstein, the great Universal film. And also you can get you'll be able to purchase a limited edition 18 by 24 poster by Mike and Dave Stewart. So that's happening Saturday at 6:00. And then during the convention for Lightbox Expo in Pasadena on Sunday at noon, there'll be a great panel as well from the guys explaining, the making of the movie. Are you going to screen the movie that Sunday as well, or no?
No, we're not screening the movie. So that'll be for Saturday. So, everybody can come out, see it on the big screen. It's an amazing theater. So it'll be super fun to play after Frankenstein. But then Sunday, it's very much this is how you make, a making of.
How to make a documentary the Jim and Kevin way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if this is of interest to you, have we got the thing?
This is how we did it. This is how you can do it.
And then the following week, I forgot to mention that at the Portland Film Festival, Saturday the 22nd at 5 p.m., there'll be a screening of the film. And that's great because, of course, that's Dark Horse Comics country. I mean, my God, how many friends do we have in Portland? I always say, if I could pick up and move, Portland would be the place I'd move because literally dozens of my friends are there making comics. And it's like, in fact, the last time I saw the brothers, Gabriel and Fabio, was at Rose City back in 2019, I think. So and Jimmy, I know I saw you that. I'm pretty sure I saw you.
That's where we interviewed him. So
and that's where we were. Yeah.
Well,
oh my God, that's great.
Yeah. The footage you saw was from that. Yeah,
that's great. Oh my God, truly, all the Dark Horse veterans and stuff. Matt Wagner and Diana Schutz, and it was great. And yeah, the brothers were sitting next to Diana, and that was so wonderful. See, it's like, hey guys, oh my God, finally face to face. So yeah, that's terrific. And again, so that Portland Film Festival, Saturday, the 22nd. Let's see a comment here. Fortune Weston, moved to Portland since it was such a hot spot for comics.
Yeah,
hell yeah, man.
A lot of people that are in the documentary are from Portland, and a lot of them are in LA. So for both premieres, we're going to have a lot of people who are in the docs show up.
That's great, man. That's excellent.
Full of people that we talk to. That's crazy.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, you guys got to come to Chicago and do the same because we got a nice little hotbed of comic creators, Jill, past and present.
Thompson,
Jill Thompson, Alex Ross.
For our Kickstarter.
That's right.
Oh, that's great. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But Mike Norton, Tim Seeley, Mike
Norton also did a piece for our Kickstarter. So we've got
that's great.
Two Chicago people in there.
And Scott McMahon, my buddy, a great cartoonist from Toledo, Ohio. I saw he said that he was proud to contribute to the cause as well, the Kickstarter.
I'm so thrilled. So Scoot, I've known for years as well because I used to do a strip when back in the day at Emerald City. We did a strip called Tales from the Con, and Scoot was the artist on it, written by Brad Geigar.
Oh, that's great, man. Absolutely. No, I remember when he used to do that. Yeah, Scoot's a good buddy of mine as well, and a fellow podcaster. Me, Scoot, Art and Franco, and our buddy Mike Skokie Spidey. We do the Comics podcast and stuff and screw around. But no, Scoot's hilarious. Very funny guy. In fact, he was texting me earlier today. So I'm glad I know he was watching.
I'm a great fan of his as well as a person and as an artist. So yeah, love you, Scott. Thank you.
That's beautiful, man. That's excellent. No, and truly, guys, I'm so glad that that the Kickstarter worked and you got the funding that you needed and everything. And again, it's a wonderful documentary. So congratulations. Truly. Absolutely. So any other convention plans beyond or festival that you can announce now beyond what you got going in at Lightbox and the Portland Festival and Screen Movie Club?
Yeah, I think it looks like Kevin's maybe pulling up the list.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, man.
Like it's on our on mignoladocumentary.com. We've got let's see, after Portland. Yeah, I don't want to say anything out of order. Let's see. Here's our screening list. So after Portland, we're going to be in Italy, in Torino. We've got the TO Horror Fantastic Film Fest, same weekend as Portland. We're also showing down in Colombia at the Fantasmagoria Festival de Cine Fantástico, and that's October 28th. Orlando, which I mentioned earlier, October 31st. We're also in Provo, Utah at the Film Quest Festival, also on Halloween, October 31st. One more Utah is Doc Utah at the International Film Festival in St. George, November 3rd. And then lastly, for now that we can announce, we're also doing Hamilton, Ontario, the Hamilton Film Festival on November 13th. So
wonderful. That's great, man. Beautiful. And I would imagine that Mike's art is more received overseas because superheroes don't always, although in recent years, I think the rest of the world obviously is catching up with superheroes, but beautiful comic art, a lot of times has nothing to do with superheroes. And that's been the wonderful, I think, experience as an adult reader is discovering the Hugo Pratts and the various international stars, past and present, that are just making such beautiful books. So I would imagine Mike is very well received, again, because, it's just such a classic design, but also that it's not superheroes, it's just pure monsters.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember putting around France for a little bit, and you see virtually no superhero stuff, and Hellboy was everywhere. There was Angoulême, and it was on a train wrap. They had wrapped a train in Hellboy stuff.
Great festival, great comics festival, Angoulême, absolutely. Yeah. And also, I love the observations from people in the documentary that point out that there is kind of a filmic sort of style with the way Mike does shadows, and they even said it was like if Jack Kirby was interpreted by a Fritz Lang or some of the great German filmmakers. And I'm an old movie fan, man, and I absolutely see that as well. And a cartoonist that I've never heard mentioned, and I don't know if this is something, I've never asked Mike this, but a guy like Alex Toth, I don't know if he's an influence on Mike at all. I don't know if you guys have ever about that.
Mike likes Alex Toth a lot, but he's always said it feels like more like similar streams. Like he didn't have him like on his drawing board when he was kind of developing his style, but he does see the similarities, how they ended up in a similar place. He actually said that when he met Frank Frazetta, he showed him his work, and he's like, Frank, you've been a massive influence on me. And Frazetta said, it looks more like Alex Toth.
Ha! Oh my God. That's amazing. And also, I'm so glad that, of course, along with Mike's own stuff, that we see his early days in Marvel. My first awareness of Mike was really, I think, either Cosmic or Gotham by Gaslight. Mm-hmm. And those were, and again, I'm really glad that Mike goes into detail about how mentioning, the Kirby influence, or at least he wasn't aware of it until he really got, I think, into Comic Odyssey and had to draw those Kirby heroes, the New Gods and the like. And Noah, and of course his interpretation of Batman is really amazing. And it's again, it's so unique. But again, it's so funny because again, all of us fans, and I think younger fans or mainstream fans, for lack of a better description, are like, so when are you going to do Batman again? And it's like, yeah, that's nice, but how about let Mike do his thing, man? And God, in fact, Alan Moore, I'm sure you guys saw it too recently, was just talking about, I'm done with superheroes. And it's like, I understand. I always feel bad for Alan Moore because it's like all people want to talk about are Watchmen or other times that he's worked on now, other superheroes and stuff. And I'm always like, God, it's like a divorce where it's like, hey, man, how's your ex-wife doing? You going to ever do anything with your ex-wife again? And it's like, no, man, he's moved on. He's doing other things. God, give the artist the respect. Not that I think Mike is ashamed or anything like that. But again, I'm just so happy that, the marriage between Mike and Dark Horse allows him to really just do his own thing and bring in these other creators to build on his universe.
Yeah, I mean, we also, during the pandemic, he did, of course, the pandemic sketchbook. We just started as a bunch of sketches. Yes. So I think as fanboys, we all got to live a lot of our dreams of seeing what would it be like if Mike drew Pokemon or or He-Man or and he was just taking suggestions. He was like, yeah, sure. Like, what is this stuff? Okay, yeah, sure. That sounds like fun. I'll try to draw that. So, it's not even that he's like done with it. He just loves doing Hellboy, and he loves the Hellboy universe so much, and he loves bringing one of the reasons that he just can't quit is he gets excited about seeing new artists, young talent that he likes, and gets excited about bringing them in and having built that playground for them to thrive.
Absolutely. And not only artists, but also writers as well. Guys like Chris Robertson, John Accordi, great people that have just added on to the universe. And man, I'll tell you, Lobster Johnson has always been my favorite of Mike's characters. And I've even said that to him in conversation. I'm like, I love Hellboy, but Lobster Johnson has that great 30s and 40s cliffhanger aspect of that kind of hero. I mean, he's not even really a superhero. He's more like Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and those kind of hero, and Blackhawk, I suppose, as well, non-superheroes. But yeah, I do. And just his influences and the way that he does it. And also, God, man, great section in the movie about the Amazing Screw-On Head as well. Fun stuff. Just, yeah, again, great appreciation of Mike. Well done, boys.
Thanks. Thank you. We couldn't. I mean, we just wanted to fit so much in. We didn't really get into Lobster Johnson, but it's all right. It's a massive career of a very interesting guy. But like he said, he's like, I don't, he talks about how he doesn't do superheroes. He does all these flawed misfits. And there was an aside that we didn't include, but he's like, I mean, I guess Lobster Johnson is a superhero, but that guy's nuts. He's crazy.
What we like too is that what we hope is that you watch this and it just makes you want to seek these things out. Yeah. So we didn't necessarily have to make a list for everyone. We're just like, there's an open door to this universe. We just hope you step in.
Yeah. Amen. Absolutely, man. Mike Mignola, Making Monsters is the name of the documentary. Again,
Drawing Monsters.
Pardon me, Drawing Monsters. I apologize.
No worries.
Again, you can go this weekend on Saturday to the $1 Million Theater for the Secret Movie Club's presentation of the documentary and also that showing of Frankenstein. And that's happening Saturday at 6:00. And then Lightbox Expo, the panel specifically about the movie, is on Sunday at noon. So go to lightboxexpo.com and also mignoladocumentary.com for more information about the movie and where to see it. Are they able to purchase the movie at the website or not yet?
Nope.
Not yet.
Festival's only at the moment.
Okay, no worries. Well, that's great. And again, we've laid out the you'll find out the festival information of where the movie's going to be beyond this month. And of course, shame on me once again, the following weekend at the Portland Film Festival on the 22nd. So congratulations, guys. Excellent stuff. And really, I thank you for letting me get a sneak look at the movie. Blown away and happy to, toot the word balloon horn in your guys' favor and let the audience know that this great movie is going to be coming to them very soon. And, it sounds like you guys are on the right path. So can't wait to talk about the next documentary with you guys.
Thanks, John. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your time and just having us on and for your enthusiasm about comics. I mean, Word Balloon is always a must for us. And so we're thrilled to be on. So we love you and like what you do. And we're just super thrilled to have been here.
And super excited to talk to you about the next one.
That sounds great, guys. Well, again, Kevin, really nice to meet you. Jim, thank you for being such a good friend over the years, and I really appreciate everything you've done to help me, and I'm happy to and kind of help you guys as well. So well done.
Thanks, John.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you on the next Word Balloon Live. Until then, everybody stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Move. There it is.